You know the old saying, no matter how big or small, your home is your castle. And this little cottage is a beauty. It's charming, cozy, and perfect for the young professional couple that live here. But in any inner city home where, let's face it, space is at a premium, are you making the most of every square millimetre? Like this area here. Well, this very precious slither of real estate is just off the study and it runs almost the full length of the house. The only thing it's being used for is to collect leaves and house the world's longest washing line. Now, you may see this as a wasted space, but I see it as a golden opportunity. So our decking isn't actually in that bad a nick. There's nothing else going on, but that's all right, because what I'm imagining is a lush, leafy oasis where the owners can come out and enjoy a bit of gardening. The inspiration I've got could be used for any disused courtyard or even a balcony. I'm thinking lots of lovely plants, lots of pots, even a fold-away table. And that's what I'll get onto first. It's three simple components. I've got a part which I'm going to screw to the wall. Then I've got an angle, which is going to fold in on some hinges, and I'm using some decking boards to just really dress it up. With that fixed to the wall, you can see we have a very nifty little table. It folds away almost as easily as it went together. There's a real temptation in a small space like this to put small pots all the way down the edge, but what that's going to do is emphasize the fact that you've got this big long runway. You actually want to break the space up, so I'm doing that with enormous pots. Now that is going to allow me to bring in some big plants, but also it'll help to block the flow through, so you'll meander through the space and slowly enjoy it. Now, when you're setting pots out, a good point to start with is think about your sight lines out from the house. We've got the study behind me, so there's going to be a big pot at the end to catch the eye, and we've also got a few windows here, so I'll be putting something tall in these. And then you can add the smaller plants to it, and that's going to add texture and different layers. Everybody loves a potted plant, but so often you get them from the nursery, bring them back, and things die in them. Well, I can tell you 90% of the time that happens is down to poor drainage in the pots. When it comes to drainage, too much water is just as bad as not enough water. And when you look at the bottom of the pot, it's all got to drain out of this small hole. Now, you could put some more holes in the bottom of each pot, but you do run the risk of cracking it. So I'm just going to work with what we've got. And it starts with this shade cloth. And then on top of that, I'm actually using some blue metal. It's really important you go for a small size and an angular shape. Now I'm getting another layer of the shade cloth on top. Now this is going to prevent the potting mix mixing with the blue metal. You want to make sure you compact this down a little bit, but not too much. And what I mean by that is if you compact it down too hard, you get rid of any air spaces and the roots are going to find it really hard to establish. One of the most important things you do when doing a pot like this is to start it and finish it in the place where it's going to live forever, because this one has already got quite heavy. It's going to be quite difficult to get into spot. Yes, I am using big plants to match my big pots, and it may seem counterintuitive to put big bold foliage in a small space, but it actually makes the whole garden feel much bigger. I've used upright planting. These giant elephant's ears have got a lovely clear stem, and then you give this great big canopy of green. I'm also doing that with some palms. This Kentia, when it gets planted, will be brought up and give us this lovely dappled shade over the top. I'm working with foliage, so everything is lovely green, different textures. This garden's going to come together really well. Really is amazing how much bigger the space is feeling the more plants we put into it. To finish off our canopy, I'm adding some texture and layers to the lower areas. I've got a cluster of 4 here, and they're all really bold foliage plants. The tractor seat, but then I'm adding some light with this lovely variegated calathea, and then almost a fine filigree in this silver lady fern. I've gone even smaller with my pots, but brought them higher up here. And I've just used some interesting plants like this little Echeveria, so when you come around this small bend, you stop and really enjoy everything this garden's got to offer. Now, I know you may be thinking, what have I done giving a young professional couple all of these plants? There's so much maintenance. And yes, it does look a little bit like a jungle, but all these plants need similar maintenance requirements. When it comes to foliage plants like this, you just remove any old leaves that look tatty, and watering is the key with potted plants. Too much is just as bad as not enough. You want to make sure your potting mix is moist but not too wet. So for all of these plants, twice a week should be doing it. Liquid fertilizer is also going to be your friend. Because the fertilizer drains through the potting mix so quickly, you want to be doing that every 4 weeks, and this will be looking like a lush green jungle. You can't make your block bigger, but you can be smarter about the way you use it. And this is a pretty good solution. What once was a thoroughfare you just wanted to get out of is now an inviting spot to sit down and enjoy a cup of tea. On top of that, the owners have got a lovely outlook from their study, and they might even venture out, go through the meandering path and take in some of the plant life. The best part is it's all done with pots, so why not have a crack at home this weekend? Inner city living is all about making the most of your small spaces, and that includes your front garden. So I've been sent an SOS from Dana and Rod to make over the front of their house, but they also need a bit of parking as well. Charlie.
Hey Charlie, how are you?
I'm very well. This is a good little spot. How long have you been here for?
This is an amazing spot in Lilyfield. Since 2005, 17 years.
Okay. I've noticed you got a couple of good British motorcycles there.
Yeah, Triumph.
Very good.
Yep.
So what are the problems you got with the front garden?
Yeah, so there's a trip hazard here that we've all learnt the hard way, and we've all taken a tumble.
Right.
I like to keep the bikes off the street.
Yep.
Which is, the street's quite narrow, as you've seen.
Yes.
And I don't like parking the bikes out there because I get knocked over or something.
Okay. So we need somewhere for the bikes. We want to kind of refresh the front of the house, make it look nice, and bring in some planting.
That sounds good.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
good.
I'm going to get digging if you guys can get the bikes out.
Okay.
Oh,
Pretty good
okay,
deal.
Yep.
We're
No
ready to
problem.
go.
That's a fantastic deal. Thank you.
Good stuff. In this lower part of the garden, I'm removing all the grass so we can have a nice pad of pebbles for the motorbikes to sit on. We've got to dig down so we can get some road base to give it a proper footing, and around the outside we're going to bring it up a little bit so we can get some planting in. Through here we're going to cut through the bricks so we've got access up to the front door, and then on this top level we're going to retain the grass, making these garden beds a little bit bigger, but so we've still got access to store some bins down the side. Thank you, Benny. You can see the curves I've put in for the garden bed around the outside of our parking area. But before we get onto that, we're just putting some road base in to level off and compact. Now we're going to mix a bit of cement through this to help stabilise it. And what that does is when the bikes come in and out, it's going to lessen the chance of the road base falling into the garden beds. The easiest way to mix the cement through the road base is just with a rake. Now this road base is soaking wet, so I don't need to add any more water, but if your road base was dry, you'd want to give this a sprinkle just so it compacts down properly. It's quite a small area. You could use a plate compactor, or you could just use a hand compactor like this one. On top of our road base, I've just laid some geofab out, and that's going to stop the road base and the pebbles mixing. And on top of that, I'm using some of this. This is a plastic reinforcing cell, and it really easily just clips together, a bit like Lego blocks. And what it does is holds the gravel in, so when you walk on it, it doesn't feel like you're walking on heavy sand, and when the motorbike wheels turn on it, it's not going to form divots and ruts and make it the perfect parking space. For our pebbles, I'm just using a river gravel, and this is 7 to 10 mil. Now, this looks much better in a small space than, say, a 20 to 30 mil would look, and it packs together so you don't run the risk of smashing this window when the motorbikes take off. When it's washed, it's going to have lovely blue-grey tones to it, which will match our planting. Now, you wouldn't know it to look at these pavers, but these are the same as the front path. Rod had some left over, so I've cut them to size. I'm going to be placing them there to create a step between the lower garden and the top garden. Once they're installed, I'm going to give it all a clean and try and get the old looking as close to this as I can get it. One of the most cost-effective ways to change the look of your property is with paint. And this fence is looking pretty tired, so it's going monument. The front door, well, that's going to go ecology green. This is actually quite a tricky space to plant out because it gets quite a lot of sun, and also the soil is really shallow, so it dries out. So we need some plants that are hardy, and as a rule of thumb, you want stuff with a hard leaf, like this oriental pearl. You want some succulent leaves, like this silver spoons, and also small silver leaves like the bald Westringia are perfect. But this plant has really taken my eye. This is Lamandra crackerjack, and it's got such a nice fine foliage. It just adds a lightness to the rest of the planting scheme.
So much for all your hopelessness, so much for keeping motionless, so much for getting over it, get over yourself. When the hard times equal the good times.
I'm just working out the planting for this corner, and I really want some vertical height to sort of hide this screen, and an olive is the perfect choice. It goes really well with our colour scheme, and it's got a lovely texture to it as well. The problem is we don't have any soil depth, so instead it's going into a pot. Now, olives really like free draining soil, so pots are perfect for them. However, if you place a pot on top of the soil like this, you run the risk of the water not draining out of it. So I'm going to get all the plants in, mulch it with pebbles, and then put the pot on top of the pebbles. So I think that looks right. I can get on to some planting.
Stepping aside, see what it feels like. Letting others do their job and feel alright. And feel alright.
And that is perfect.
The girl sleeping on the road. Maybe.
Up the top, we're using very similar plants to those around the car parking space, and I'm using some really interesting low-growing ones. This one is Festuca glauca Beyond Blue. It's pretty obvious to see why when you look at the colour of the foliage. I'm also using this. This is incredibly versatile. It's Helichrysum petiolare. Now, you can allow this to grow nice and flat, or you can let it grow up and trim it into a shrub. You can even let it cascade over a wall. Just a few finishing touches and the garden is complete, and I think it's looking pretty good. I just wonder what Rod and Dana think about it. Well, Dana, tell me, what do you think of your new garden?
It's awesome, Charlie. I
Yeah?
really like it. Yeah, I do a lot.
I think it sets off the bikes well.
It does, it does. The pebbles work really well.
So the pebbles actually have a reinforcing grid underneath them, so they're not going to skid around. So you might have noticed when you're parking, it's quite stable and not like a deep dish of pebbles. So that works well, and by extending that through to the planting, it makes the space feel a lot larger.
It was really, really stable compared to before. Felt like we had obstacles before, and the planting just sets it off perfectly.
Well, I didn't notice, but you've got a blue and a grey bike, and that's sort of the theme for the planting. So it does all tie together nicely.
And the blue one's the better bike.
I'll let you guys argue about that one. But you may also notice we've got a lovely step up, so now you can park the bikes, get up to the front door. We've mirrored the planting up on the top as well, and it
Yeah.
just makes the whole garden look complete.
And this was such a safety issue for us stepping over this, so the step looks absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And the barren garden that was over there has just been brought to life. Charlie, you and the team have just done an awesome job. It looks amazing.
You'll notice we've painted the front door as well, because the red just stood out to me. It didn't really tie in with the new planting, and also the fence has had a lick of paint as well.
Yeah, the design, the colours, the planting, it just looks amazing.
Well, with compliments like that, there's not much else I can do but ride off into the sunset.